Okay, here we go, guys. So the first thing in today's notes, we're talking just kind of a little bit of a review. This is the law of demand, and all the law of demand tells us is that when the price of something goes up, we want less of it, right? So price goes up, quantity demanded goes down, and when the price goes down, the quantity demanded is going to go up. And again, this is exactly how we've always acted our whole life. I mean, nobody ever wants to say that, well, I refuse to buy this at $1, but I will give you $5 for it. So it's just, again, it's kind of how you've always acted, especially ever since you've been getting your own money. Okay, this next page, this was the big one in class today, and if you pay attention up here in the red, what I have written, it's probably not written very neatly, but what it tells you is that a change in quantity can only happen if price changes. And if you look at your first bullet up here, right, it's telling us that we need to make sure that we understand the difference between moving along the demand curve and shifting the demand curve. If we're moving along the demand curve, then the only thing that's happening is we're moving from one point to another point. If we're shifting the demand curve, well, then the entire demand curve itself is moving. It's either moving to the right or it's moving to the left. And again, the second bullet right here, it tells us again that a change in price is the only thing that can cause us to move along the demand curve, right? We can't actually change anything but quantity if price changes. The third one right here, and is again, it's just saying this is a change in quantity demanded. And then the last point, if the entire demand curve moves either to the left or the right, either one, then it's called a change in demand. And on the next slide, that's actually what we're looking at, is this is a change in demand. As you can see, the price of videos over here on the left hand column is 54321. Those numbers never change, but yet in our example right here, if you look at the green demand curve, well, actually what's happening is we want more at $4 than what we did before. Beforehand, we wanted 20 videos at a price of $4. Now all of a sudden we want 40 videos at a price of $4. This is an increase in demand, and there's several things that'll be on the next slide that could have caused this to happen. But this is a shift to the right, so it's an increase in demand. Right, so our demand for videos in this case has completely increased. We're willing to buy more at every single price, and more than likely what's happened right here is the fact that we're getting paid more money. We got a raise, we won the lottery, something, a rich relative left us some money as inheritance, something like that. We're getting paid a lot more money in this case, so of course, yeah, we're willing to buy more videos, we're willing to rent more videos, whatever it may be, for $4 than what we were before. If we're loaded, well then absolutely, yeah, we want a lot more stuff at any price. Okay, these are your determinants, or if you look up at the top, it says shifters, and the only reason why we call them a shifter is because, well, it causes the demand curve to shift, right? It's something that's going to cause the demand curve to actually change. If you look at it over there on the right, it says septic. Well, that's just one of my little things, of course, that kind of help you remember it, right? So if you look at down through there, if you look at substitute, it's expectations, population, taste and preferences, income, and complements. So septic kind of helps you remember it a little bit. As far as substitutes and price of complements, we'll talk about those in a second. I want to talk about the ones in the middle on this slide because we don't go into a lot of detail later on them. When we're talking about expectations, we're talking about our expectations, us as consumers, our expectations about future prices. What do I expect prices to be like in the future? And whatever I expect them to be is going to affect my demand today. For example, if I expect gas prices to go way up tomorrow, well then I'm going to fill my truck up on the way home today. If I expect prices to go down tomorrow, the prices of gas, then I may hold off today. I may try to stretch it out a little bit further today and hopefully be able to wait until tomorrow to buy gas. The next one, the population of your house, right? Or it could be the population of your country. It doesn't matter. The big important thing here is to understand is that when our population increases, well, we're going to demand more stuff. Our demand is going to increase, right? If our population decreases, well, then our demand is going to go down. Tastes and preferences. This is basically just the things that kind of make you want stuff, right? So you could say that it's the first time you've ever tried Zaxby's chicken fingers, and you say to yourself, "Oh my goodness, it's the greatest thing I've ever had." So now your tastes have increased, so your demand for Zaxby's is going to increase, right? So you prefer to eat there. You want to eat there a lot more than what you would something else. Your tastes and preferences, a lot of times in commercials, this is what companies are trying to get at, right? They'll show like for muscle building products, they show this gigantic, huge, hulking beast of a man, and he's drinking muscle milk. Then automatically, what does everyone start thinking? Well, muscle milk is the reason why that guy's that big, so I need to drink muscle milk, and then I'm going to get that big. And all of a sudden, before you realize it, your demand for muscle milk has increased, and they've done exactly what they've wanted. On the other side of things, think about any time you've ever gotten sick, like your stomach got messed up or anything like that, and you've always got that one food that you think about, like, oh man, that's the food that did it to me. And for the longest time, you're probably not able to eat that food. Again, that's your taste and your preferences have changed. So your demand is decreased in that case. The income, that is pretty well self-explanatory. It's the amount of money you're making. Right? If you're making more money, then more than likely you're going to have a higher demand for almost anything. Right? If you get fired from your job, well, then you're probably going to want less of everything. Okay, moving over. This is complementary goods, and honestly, you can almost just try to complete the sentence. Like if it's peanut butter and jelly, right? Well, peanut butter and jelly, they go together. So they're products that are used in combination with one another, right? We always pretty much have to have one if we're going to get the other. So if I'm going to the grocery store, if I'm going to buy peanut butter, I'm going to buy jelly, right? And if I'm going to buy turkey, all right, from the deli, well, then I'm going to buy bread too, or mayonnaise, or whatever you want to think about, however that is. But it's goods that go together. So if we go back with peanut butter and jelly, right? If the price of peanut butter goes up, then I'm going to want less jelly. My demand for jelly is actually going to decrease because the price of peanut butter changed. Because the price of a complement went up, my demand for the other good is going to actually go down, right? And it would work the other way. So if peanut butter all of a sudden went on sale, well, then my demand for jelly is going to increase, because if I'm going to buy more peanut butter, I have to have more jelly. That's just how it has to work. I have to have jelly if I'm going to eat peanut butter. It's not going to work the other way around. All right, last one here. This is substitutes, and these are the goods that you basically can use in place of another. One, we would say that one is just as good as the other one. So there's two examples here: Coke and Pepsi, BP gas and Texaco gas, right? Another way you can kind of look at it is every store, like no matter what aisle you go on, they usually have the store brand of something. So if you go, you could buy Advil, or you can buy Equate brand ibuprofen at Walmart, or you can buy name brand tomato paste, you can buy Hunt's tomato paste, or you can buy Publix brand tomato paste, right? Regardless, one is just as good as the other. And the way that it works is say the price of Advil goes up, well then I want to buy the Equate brand ibuprofen now, right? So my demand for the off brand is actually going to increase because of that. And that's usually about how it always works. And then if you want to keep scrolling through these are just some typical Coach Arp stuff, like some pictures of substitutes of folks that are things that are just as good as another. That one's really creepy, the Fidel Castro and Liam Neeson. Right, there you go. Okay, yep, there you go. And then the last one, this is my favorite. And you see the Halloween masks and the chainsaws next door to each other. Well, there you go, your compliments. All right, guys. Hope you enjoy your weekend. Hope you have a great time. Be safe, and let me know, as always, if you ever have any questions whatsoever, please just ask.